Okay, now okay, so let's set the camera up. No, that's not how you actually want it, is it? That's right. Flip it upside down on the thing. That's right. See the entire width of the keyboard, which is freaking awesome. This is in the floor shot over here. This is in the floor shot over here. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, so all right. So I guess I'll sit about here and sort of shoot this thing sort of like this. Because if you need to shoot you need to have a B flat in the situation. It's flat, it's like that. Oh my, and that's not very helpful now, is it? Airplanes go by. It's not not particularly useful, conducive to what we're doing. Okay. Okay, there I am. All right. I think I'm gonna back up just a little bit. Just a little bit. think that's the 10 cent. Yeah, I think that's the one I'm looking for. That's the one I think it's just a little bit better for what we're going for with this situation here. Oh my God. You realize that you gotta get rid of the footage that's on her on this camera already. Yeah, don't worry about that YouTube video that's live. Okay, just getting the data over here. Okay. Okay. So this is the distance that I'm looking at that I probably feel more comfortable. And this is around somewhere around the eye line. And I can go ahead and proceed. Okay. I think I'm gonna okay, I think that is recording there. Okay, let's set the audio on, I can move camera off, menu. Lord have mercy. Okay, check, 1, 2. We are on. We are live and on. Yes, we are on like John, as we say. I don't know who's we because nobody says that. A useful piece of kit is never to. Okay, so what are we working with? We're working with E flat major. Let's make sure we got all that. Okay, let's set this to full length of the song, shall we? Okay. E flat major. Okay, that is our target scale. See, and I cannot tell whether I'm in or out of focus. Okay, so here we are, and everybody's rolling, and we're good to go. Okay, so okay. How do I make sure that we are ready to start? We're starting with E flat major and a little funky sort of little groove that we're going to play along. Okay. Okay. Okay, E flat major. Okay. Let me start. Okay, E flat major. All right, everybody. So let's get started with our E flat major scale. Now, as we take a look at the fingering diagram, we can see that our right hand starts with our third finger. And our diagram shows us each finger that belongs to each key in the E flat major scale. I'm going to start again because I should describe this thing a little better. Okay. Plus, we had a plane flying overhead as well, so that kind of got in the way and messed up the vibe a little bit. But here we are in E flat major, and we're going to start again. Starting again, starting again, starting again, starting again in E flat major, E flat major, E flat. Okay. So let's take a look at our E flat major scale. When we take a look at the scale diagram, the fingering diagram, it shows us that E flat major has three flats. That's E flat, A flat, and B flat. So starting with our right hand, we start our E flat major scale with our third finger. Now this may seem a little weird when we're starting out. Oftentimes when we're starting out our scales, we start with C. We're used to starting with our first finger. But our E flat major scale is different. We start with our third finger, followed by our second finger on the F. The interesting thing to note here is that once your second finger gets onto the F, your hand position changes and is automatically in position, should automatically be in position to play the remaining notes. So we're starting on our E flat and then our F, our G. Excuse me. I don't know why. Just coughing fit out of nowhere. Let's take a look at our E flat major scale. When we take a look at our E flat major scale, we see that it has three flats: B flat, E flat, and A flat. All the other notes are natural. So we see in our right hand that our E flat major scale starts on our third finger and is played like this. So twice during the E flat scale, E flat major scale, you're required to have your thumb under. And again here. Descending. See how we cross our fingers over when we're descending? Look at our third finger, sorry, our fourth finger, crosses over here. Start on our third, and we cross our fourth finger here, and continue down to the F, and then back to our third finger. And when we're playing 2 octaves, we just continue the pattern of the keyboard. Now, it may seem boring just playing the scale all by itself, and that's why I've developed some music backing tracks to make things a little interesting. Yeah, the scales on their own and just with the metronome can be very boring sometimes. So that's why I made some backing tracks to play with the scales. Let's have a listen. E flat major. We don't know about that one so much. Take 1 on that. Let's try that again. Our E flat major scale over a backing track. Because here's the E flat major scale on its own. Just the right hand. But it can be far more interesting if we're playing it with a rhythm, with a groove, because that's what music is all about. Music is all about enjoyment and fun, not just drills and technical exercises. So in order to make scale exercise a little more fun and a little more enjoyable, I'm going to start from the beginning. Okay, here we go. Okay, from the beginning. Let's take a look at the E flat major scale. Now, scales can be very boring and tedious when you're just playing them in isolation with a metronome. So that's why I've created some backing tracks to make scale exercise and scale practice a little more interesting. So let's give it a try with E flat major scale. One more time. Let's take a look at the E flat major scale. Now, most of the time, scale practice involves just a metronome and the piano in isolation, and it can be kind of boring. So that's why I've created these backing tracks to make scale practice a little more enjoyable. So let's demonstrate. I'll demonstrate with E flat major what these scales can sound like with and without the backing track. Just without the backing track, let's just take a look at the scale fingering diagram, the scale chart that shows us that E flat major has 3 flats. Now we're just dealing with the right hand for the moment. As we can see, we start on our 3rd finger, followed by our 1st finger. Now we can see right away we've got a thumb under technique here. Our third finger onto our first finger. And when we get our hands into position, we see that we have one finger per key and they are naturally resting on the following keys. Finger 1, 2, 3, and 4. But then here we will come under to get our finger number 1 back here. 2 and 3. Back to finishing on finger number 3. And back down again, descending, third finger. Now we're going to cross over our fourth finger here, right? We're crossing from this position to this position. On its own, not much fun. So let's see what it sounds like with a backing track. We're going to play these, play quarter notes to start with. I'll play a little bit of the track, let a little bit of the track play before I come in. It's a nice funky track. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here are our quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter notes, E flat, right hand. Both hands. That's far more interesting. Far more interesting way to practice scales. Now let's play eighth notes. That's 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and. Okay, now 2 hands. So it makes scales a lot more interesting to play when you have a backing track, a rhythm that you can use to keep things a little more interesting. Now, you can play your E flat major scale over this backing track, and you can also play your C minor, your C natural minor scale as well, because that is the relative minor of E flat major. That's one of the cool things about scales, is once you learn the relationships between the scales, the relative minors and relative majors, it gives you a lot more to work with. And as you can see, the notes that are in that scale are the notes that are in that song. You can use those notes any way you like. Now, you can listen to the melody that's being played there and try to figure that melody out by ear. You can also try to learn the chord changes, which are actually rather simple. So with these exercises, with these backing tracks, You can play your scales in quarter notes. You can play them in eighth notes. You can play them even in triplets. Now, using your relative minor and relative major, like I said, you can play your C minor scale on this same backing track. Your C minor, C natural minor scale goes like this. And as you will see, it has the same notes as your E flat major scale. They just start in a different place. They have the same notes, the same family members in E flat major and in C minor, C natural minor. And you can play them together as well. Let's see what C minor sounds like. C minor over our groove. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to C minor. So as you can see, you can practice your E flat major scale and your C minor scale at the same time using this backing track.